once again via the Jazz Image at Minnesota Public Radio, a line that signifies the international import of jazz. And it has to do with Slide Hampton. Slide Hampton goes on stand at the New Artist Quarter at 9 o'clock tonight and on Sunday at 8 o'clock. And now to that story concerning the international tide of jazz. Welcome to Minnesota Public Radio for the first time, Slide Hampton. It is good to have you in town.
Thank you very much, Leigh. I'm very happy to be here.
Well, there is quite a story behind the composition, which, of course, is American-based, and Tad Dameron, one of your favorite composers, created. But that second trombone in this group, what is the story behind that?
Well, actually, I made the album, of the CD, with Mr. Avi Lebo. It was his first album, and I was featured on it. He's a musician from Israel, and a few years ago, a young man came to me and said, I want to take a lesson with you if I can. And I invited him to my house, and I said, okay, I'll play some piano for you and listen to you play and see where you are and see what we can do. And I started playing piano, and this guy started playing the trombone so fantastically that it shocked me. I turned around and said, man, I think I need to take a lesson from you. He played so well. He's a really very fine player.
How old is he now?
Well, Avi's in his 20s. I think he's in his late 20s now. And when I first met him, he was about 25 years old, I guess.
It seems you've been a mentor and coach to many. Is that true?
Well, I have. A lot of people have helped me, too. The great thing about the music, especially of the swing period and the bebop period, is that the older musicians or the musicians that were more experienced gave us so much help.
Well, I can remember back in, say, 1956, somewhere up there in the brass section of Buddy Johnson's band, you were helping to make Since I Fell for You really come into a signature song.
Well, one of my first professional bands that I worked with when I left our family band was Buddy Johnson's band. And I was quite young then, and I really did appreciate the fact that Buddy gave me the opportunity to work with him. But I didn't realize until lately what a great musician I was having the chance to work with. He was a great pianist, a great composer, and a great person.
And that certainly is good to hear. The family band that you mentioned, would you just tell us a little bit about that?
Certainly. I was fortunate enough to be born into a family of musicians. My mother and father were musicians. All my sisters and brothers were musicians, and I was the youngest one in the family, the last one born into the family. So when I was born, they had no trombones in the family yet, so they said, you're going to play trombone. They gave it to me on the left-hand side, although I'm right-handed, and I played it on the left for my whole lifetime. And we actually played we played Carnegie Hall and the Apollo Theater and the Savoy Ballroom and all of those places and had a big success in New York.
And about what years were those dates?
That was in the early 50s.
What an interesting story. How many again in the family?
All together, there were 4 sisters, 5 brothers, my mother and father, and often several friends.
So you had a complete band.
We played the music of Count Basie, Glenn Miller, Duke Ellington, Stan Kenton, Dizzy Gillespie. We played music from all those different bands and just had a great time doing it.
My, what a story. It sounds a little bit like the Pettiford family from Minneapolis, St. Paul.
There's some hard guys to follow.
Well, I wouldn't want to set up a battle of bands on that premise, at any rate. Well, Slide, the last time I saw you, I think you were on stage at Ted Mann Concert Hall, leading this aggregation in, which is a part of an institution that belongs to Columbus Circle and above there in Lincoln Center. You've had a hand in directing so many different ensembles, but this last one was what, the Lincoln Center group, wasn't it?
Well, we did. I worked with Lincoln Center, and I worked with Wynton Marsalis, and I worked with Carnegie Hall with John Faddis, and we have so many different groups that we work with today that it's a real great experience, of course, to be able to do that. And I've conducted some, I've played in some, I've been a soloist for some, so it's a variety of things that I do.
Just briefly, I'll mention some of the other bands that you've been in. That experience with Maynard Ferguson, what was that like?
Oh, yeah, that was, actually, I was playing with Lionel Hampton before I joined Maynard's band.
Yes.
And it was a fantastic band with Lionel Hampton, and I met the trombonist that I had really admired for years that played with Stan Kenton's band, Bobby Burgess, and he was playing with the Maynard Ferguson Orchestra at the time. And he got me the audition with Maynard's band, and I got that job with Maynard, and it was a great outlet for me in many ways, to be a soloist, to compose and arrange music and everything. And playing with Maynard was a great experience because he was a very beautiful person and a real fine musician.
Slide Hampton is our guest on this night, and I want to just remind you all that he'll be on stand this weekend, beginning tonight at 9, and he'll be appearing with a second trombonist, and his name is Dave Graff, and the support system, Bobby Peterson piano, Bill Peterson bass, Kenny Horst drums, and Slide leading the group, his book. And it seems to me you all have broken in such a fashion that, in a manner of speaking, the speed of light, and you all seem to come together.
Actually, Leigh, they're leading me. I'm following them, and it's just a real wonderful experience that we're having down there. We're playing some of your favorite compositions. You got to come on down and take part in this musical event because it's a beautiful musical evening.
And your writing is something to listen to as well as hear interpreted.
Well, I love to write. The thing that I found recently, because I've been the leader of different ensembles, but I found usually when you're the leader of an ensemble, you don't get to play as much as a musician yourself. Often you're on the phone, you're organizing rehearsals, you're organizing concerts, but now I'm getting to spend a lot of time playing myself, and I still do a lot of writing, but mainly I'm focusing on my own development as a trombonist.
And it goes on and on. Do you practice every day?
I practiced today already. Yesterday I practiced and played altogether about 8 hours.
You brass players out there hear that. What was that again? How many hours?
8 hours, and that's not as long as I do it when I'm not playing at night. I might practice all day, and I'm just really enjoying it. I'm just getting to the place that I'm starting to learn how to play.
You're a modest man, Slide Hampton. Look forward to seeing and hearing you tonight, and everyone out there, head this weekend, Saturday tonight, 9, Sunday, 8 o'clock. The new Artist Quarter, Lower Town, left bank of the Mississippi, a little bit like Paris down in the underground of the Artist Quarter. It feels that way. And Slide, what a pleasure to meet and talk with you.
It's been my pleasure. I'll look forward to seeing you and everyone else later.
Later it will be. Thanks very much.
Goodbye.